Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today, as you guys can see, I have something else from Mammut. I have to say, I am starting to love this brand more and more and more the more I review them. And these are no exception. These are the very awesome Mammut. Check this out. Saentis Pro waterproof hiking boots. Check this out. Let me take one out of the box. And let me tell you guys, these are absolutely fantastic. They are very comfortable, very lightweight, waterproof. The design, the way that they're designed, we will talk about in depth about everything throughout the review. But overall, if you don't want to watch the whole review, if you don't have time, let me tell you guys, fantastic. I love this. The only thing, keep in mind, to kind of give you a little bit of a brief disclaimer or whatever it is, they do run a little bit on the smaller size. Keep that in mind, but we will talk about the sizing later in the review. So, if you have time to watch the whole review, let's get into it. As some of you already know, this is not just any kind of regular boot review. This review is specifically for my ultimate survival boots section. Yes, basically, if this wasn't just your hiking boot, but there was much more. It was a combat boot, it was a tactical boot, it was climbing boot, all of these things in one because you just did not have a chance to change your boots. You put them on and something bad happened and now you're surviving, you're walking miles and miles and miles to get to the safety, you're running, you're fighting, you're climbing, you're doing whatever is necessary to survive. So, with all that being said, would these be good for your survival? Or would they get you killed? Well, how to make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin criteria number 1, comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots, all the shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run and then a 5-mile walk, non-stop, no pauses in between. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it is surprisingly easy, like it is with these ones right here. And then I continue wearing the shoes for the rest of the day so that the total wear time is 8 hours. Kind of like a full day shift, right? Like I said, I love the comfort level of these boots. And there are a few factors that contribute to that comfort level. Let's start with the first one, the weight. And I got my scales over here. This is, by the way, size 10, and size 10, one shoe is 15.3. Excellent weight. Excellent weight for a mid-size boot. Great job, Mammut, great job. So to give you a little bit of a, if you have not watched any of my other reviews, to give you kind of a reference number whenever it comes to the weight, if you are looking for something that is lightweight, if you don't want to be bothered by the fatigue from the weight on your feet, you're gonna be fatigued anyway if you're walking 5 miles, 10 miles, you're putting in effort, your muscles are doing the work, you're gonna be fatigued regardless. But from the weight on your feet, okay, you want something under 20 ounce. The more under 20 ounce the shoes are, the lighter they feel. And this is well under 20 ounce. Now, if you find boots that you like and they're a little bit, 21, 22 ounce, not a big deal, but keep in mind, the longer the distance, the more effort that you have to put in your hike. Let's say you're going up the mountain and it's not an easy trail. That's when these little changes in weight play a huge role. After you're done with 5 miles, man, you're gonna be feeling every single ounce, all right, that is on you. So it definitely makes a huge difference. And Mammut did a great job here. But this is not it. We also have the flexibility of the outsole. That is a very important factor that contributes to the comfort level. And here, the outsole, you probably noticed it's from Michelin. We will talk about the design and all of that later. But check this out. It is actually very nicely balanced between being nice, stiff, mountaineering outsole and at the same time nice and flexible so that you can actually do a run if you need to run in these, and you can actually run properly in these boots. Also, another thing that I wanted to point out, very important, and a lot of people seem to kind of miss the top over here where the creasing is from the outsole. As you can see, You see this crease right here. Now that right there, this whole part is a pressure point on your foot. And if this part is not the right material, not comfortable enough, not flexible enough, that pressure point, oh my goodness, it can destroy your feet in a matter of, I wouldn't even say hours, minutes. And you will be done, basically, with your hike, with your walk, whatever. Here, because it is so soft over here, you basically don't really have any pressure points at all. So again, great job, Keen. But let's move on into the inner stuff of the shoe, and I'll try to take out the inner sole. It sits there nice and tight, and I do like that fact. It's very good, so it doesn't wobble around, especially whenever you're running, if you have to run. But check this inner sole out. Look how awesome it is. It's very nice, very stiff. The arch support here is an actual arch support. It does the job of supporting your foot. The heel bed is an actual heel bed. It does your job of supporting your foot. And here they implemented a little bit of extra jelliness, as you can see, for your heel. So if you are running, for example, and you are tired and now you're putting a little bit more stress on your heel, you have a little bit of extra cushioning here. Great job with the inner sole, Mammut. Let's move on to the padding. We have extra padding here in the heel, as you can see. Great job, very smart. We have nicely padded sides over here in the shaft. Going throughout the whole boot, it's very nicely and very comfortable. It feels very good. The very front, of course, would be a little bit hard from the inside of the toe box. So keep in mind, speaking of the sizing, very important to get these in the right size so that you can maximize your comfort level. But overall, on a comfort level, I would say excellent job. Mammut, can't really hard to get any more comfortable, any better than this. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 2 now, proofing and the protection. So proofing wise, these are waterproof, yes. This is a dry technology. This is Mammut's own waterproofing technology. In my experience, it has been pretty good. It works very well. But check this out, right? Usually in your normal typical boot, you have your tongue, you have the gusseting. Here you don't have no gusseting because there's really no tongue. It's just this whole piece. So Mammut, what they did here is they maximized the whole length, the whole shaft of the boot for the waterproofing clearance. And I'll demonstrate it. Check this out. So we have the lowest part right here of the shaft. And it's about... Drop my ruler somewhere behind. Here we go. So we have about, let's see, almost 5.5 inches of waterproofing, which is great, which is excellent. And to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about, if you haven't watched any of my other reviews, you have 5.5 inch, for example, here, and then you have a tongue that is gusseted, and the gusseting is only like 3.5 inches. And I see it a lot. I see it a lot with the manufacturers, some manufacturers that do that. It's kind of silly because you have the full length of the shaft and the waterproofing is just not utilized. Not the case here. Mammut, they know what they're doing whenever it comes to hiking outdoor stuff, and you can tell. Now, speaking of the protection, again, great job, Mammut. You have this very front, very nicely reinforced toe cap. This is not just a design. This is actually nice. This is really reinforced. Don't drop anything on top of your toe. This is not a composite toe, obviously, but when you're mountaineering on a rocky road, this is gonna feel very good, very nicely, very securely protected. Of course, you have your shaft to protect your ankles, still soft, keep that in mind, but something is better than nothing. You have your heel reinforced and of course very tough Michelin rubber on the outsole, which we will talk about later. So let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, quality wise, Keen, I love them. So far, this is my third, Mammut. This is my third Mammut shoes, boots, whatever. And so far, quality-wise, they have been unbelievably impressive. Excellent job. And you can check out the reviews on Amazon. You can check out reviews on the internet. You will find mostly positive 5-star reviews on these particular boots and the other Mammut shoes, boots, whatever they have. They are really doing a great job. Now, speaking of the design features, I already mentioned this unique design without any kind of gusseting, without any kind of tongue. I absolutely love it. The only downside of it is it takes a little bit more time to put your shoes on, which because obviously you have to kind of like stretch that out, stick your foot in there. But also here I wanted to mention briefly the lacing system. As you can see, the lacing system is kind of unique in a lot of ways here because it has this cool technology, string technology, going throughout the whole boot, and while you're tightening the strings, the whole boot kind of wraps around your foot, and I like that a lot. Now you also have 2 pairs of closed hooks, very good fabric, quality fabric, so it's not gonna tear on you. Then there is more of that cool lacing system going here with a closed hook and then an open hook at the very top made out of metal, so you're not gonna worry about breaking. Pretty good overall. I do like the fact that they decided to implement one open hook at the top. It helps in the hiking situations. If you're going down or up the hill, you want to quickly release the tension. That's what the open hooks are for. All right, let's move on to the criteria number 4, very important one: outsole traction and stability. Okay, like I said, this outsole is phenomenal, it's fantastic. The rubber is great quality. It's very hard, which is great. This is what you want. You don't want a floppy, soft rubber. But also look at the design. It's very nicely balanced between flatness and aggression. Now, whenever I do my run and my walk, I do it on a variety of different surfaces. I start with older asphalt, then going to the newer tarmac, then dry sand, wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, concrete, rubber, marble tile, and then a rock wall. I started recently adding the rock wall just to see how the shoes or boots that I review handle as a climbing shoe if you need to climb something up really quickly, because you might do that in a survival situation, you never know. The more tests, the better. This outsole is one of the best outsoles that I reviewed on this channel. It is excellent. It provides great amount of protection because it is a quality rubber. It's not one of those trashy butter like freaking rubbers that just can be penetrated by a freaking plant or something. Not the case here. No, this is a quality rubber. And look at the design. The design is very smart. Overall, it's very flat, so it handles excellent on stuff like sand. There is really nothing for sand or mud to get stuck in to take away from the traction and add the weight. No, nothing like that. But at the same time, it is extremely aggressive. So on slippery surfaces like wet grass, this handles without any kind of problems. Also, I am very happy about these ridges right here on both sides. Excellent for climbing, definitely helps. Another thing that I wanted to mention here for climbing enthusiasts, which I consider myself to be one, is the fact that the toe is very low profile and very hard here, so you can actually use this shoe no problem as a hiking. I mean, it's not a climbing shoe, but if you need to climb, this would be pretty good because you have this hard rubber here. It's fairly sharp, fairly grippy if you need to climb, and overall the toe is low profile, so you can stick it in between the cracks if you're climbing a rock. All right, so overall outsole, Mammut did absolutely fantastic job. Let's move on to the criteria number 5, temperature. Now, I was testing them in a hot temperature here in Florida, 95 degrees, running, walking, doing all of that. Did not overheat, very nice, very breathable. I love it. Now, really not much of a point to talk about cold winter temperatures because this is not an insulated boot. It's not a winter boot in any way. Can you use it as a winter boot? Absolutely. If you implement some insulated socks, you can get away in some cold temperatures for sure, because they are nicely waterproofed. 5.5 inches of clearance if you're walking through the snow. Pretty good. The outsole will handle on the snow without any problems. On the ice, of course, really everything is slippery on the ice unless it's a spiked steel ice boot, which this is not. but it's still gonna be pretty good compared to really any other hiking shoe that is out there. Let's move on to the criteria number 6, sizing. Now that's one of the things that you will notice with Mammut, and that's really one of the only things why sometimes Mammut shoes, boots, they get a negative review online, is because people buy them and they run small. And really, I would not necessarily say that this is a problem with Mammut. I mean, it's a European brand, and you will notice that European brand shoes, boots, they do run a little bit on the smaller size. Okay, so don't be hard on them for that. That's why I like buying stuff from Amazon, because you can return it, replace it without any problems, without any kind of fees. But be prepared, these do run on the smaller size. Usually I tell everyone, get a half a size bigger than your normal shoe size, because you need extra space in the toe box for extra comfort, so that your toe is not touching this hard rubber from the inside. Here, I would probably say go the whole size bigger. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 7, balance of application. So, if this really was your ultimate survival boot, would it be good? Honestly, I wish this was my ultimate survival boot. I wish this is what I was wearing if I had to survive, if I had to walk for miles, run, climb, fight, whatever's necessary to survive. I wish this was the boot that I was wearing. It is absolutely freaking amazing. Everything I am looking for typically in the boot, this has it. Would I change a few things here and there? Yes, absolutely. I would add a little bit more cushioning to the inner sole. I prefer just a tiny little bit more cushioning, maybe another layer of jelly on the inner sole. You've seen, if you watched some of my reviews, some boots, some manufacturers, they do implement a blue layer of jelliness throughout the whole. It's kind of like a third midsole in between, besides the harder midsole that you have here. I like that personally for extra cushioning. Another thing that I would probably change, I might have went with this harder rubber a little bit further up here, just to give you a little bit more protection, just to give you a little bit more of climbing capabilities. And speaking of the climbing capabilities, I'd probably change the front of the outsole here a little bit, just to give a little bit more flatness, kind of the sticky rubber that is usually used on the climbing shoes. But really, even without any of that, I would still, I love them as they are. One more thing that I probably would do here in this boot is I would do the either BOA or quick lace system, because I just like it. I like BOA, especially BOA. I love it. So I think it would be great. In this boot, I would like to see that. Also, design-wise, I would get rid of yellow, because this is a tactical color. This is something that personally I would wear color-wise, minus the yellow stuff, because yellow is a little bit too flashy, a little bit too attention kind of grabbing, right? You can easily spot this bright yellow somewhere in the woods. So gotta get rid of yellow, get rid of this yellowness going, and just do the OD green or Ranger green, whatever green it is. And I think that would be just absolutely freaking fantastic tactical boot. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think about these boots right here? What do you think about this review in general? Would you consider these boots as your hiking shoes, boots? Would you consider them as your tactical boot? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments below as well. I will be happy to address them if I can come across the stuff. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. This was Ultimate Survival Gear. I'll see you guys in the next video.